Hi. There's no accessible public record confirming or documenting that former Barbadian President Tom Adams privately declared Jamaicans not intelligent enough and he would not want to lead our country, Jamaica. None of the standard historical or medical archives substantiate this claim. So I just want to be clear that what I'm about to say is just from a leaked conversation that Tom Adams once had with another politician or amongst a couple of other politicians, and where it came out. But, Jamaicans always say if something no go so, it nearly goes so. That's how we look at things. And there was a big uproar at the time when it was alleged that Tom Adams made that statement. And those of you who want to be honest with yourselves, you will appreciate that this is true. PNP's first rule, social legacy. We want to talk about that today on this deep dive. The People's National Party was founded in 1938. It was first governed independent Jamaica after winning the 1972 election. That's the first time in post-independence Jamaica that the PNP came to power. Michael Manley began his rule in 1972, which lasted until 1980. That era introduced sweeping social programs, wage hikes, land reform, and education, but was followed by economic collapse. Now, there are several reasons that could be attributed to that. And of course, there are the zealots who will tell you that it was a CIA or whatever. But under Manley, before Manley's rule, GDP in 1980 was roughly 25% below its 1972 rule. Meaning, what I'm saying is, Michael Manley's reign sent the debt to GDP ratio way into the stratosphere. All right. GDP in 1980 was roughly 25% below when Michael Manley took office. And one of the things that Michael Manley brought to Jamaica was an enduring culture of dependency. And I hate to sound like a broken record, but this is something that I've spoken about because it's important to understand how we as Jamaicans throw out good governance and take in bad governance because of promises. Over decades, political patronage hardened into dependency. Constituency development funds, gift-based social interventions, and vote buying fostered a perpetual hunger for handouts from politicians rather than self-reliance. Now, I'm not saying that the JLP has not done the same thing or that it has not on both sides. What I'm saying to you, this came out of Michael Manley government that somebody owes Jamaica something. Citizens learn to expect government largesse, cash, goods, contracts, instead of demanding systemic reforms. And so if you go back to when Hugh Shearer governed, and you could look at what the economy looked like, and Michael Manley came with promises of better must come. And we could take a look at his tenure, his 8-year tenure. Data back consequences, weak growth, structural fragility, slow GDP growth. Those are the things that came out of Michael Manley. Because we had now created in the minds of Jamaicans, those who didn't run away and one of the 5 flights a day, that, government is supposed to take care of you. Government is supposed to be your daddy. Between 1990 and 2019, Jamaica's real GDP grew at only 0.8% per year, far below the Latin American and Caribbean averages of 2.7%. And so Jamaica has been on a poverty roller coaster. Poverty fell to 9.9% in 2007, jumped to 24.6% by 2013, fell again to 11% in 2019, then spiked to 21% in 2020 during the pandemic. And we understand that pandemic numbers are going to be skewed because people just couldn't go to work. Only easing to 16.7 by 2021, as we were coming out of the pandemic. Those are facts. So because of the roller coaster, it heightens the call now in this election season for there to be a change in government. Labor productivity has stagnated or declined since at least 2000 and remains dramatically lower than coastal peer economies across similar income brackets. This has crippled growth. Even where investment is sustained, output lags. We're not producing enough. And so the GDP pie is not as big as it should be. The things that we used to do, we don't do them anymore. Bauxite, aluminium, it's not selling like it used to. And plus, we weren't even getting anything out of aluminum. Or coffee, sugar cane, things of the past. Banana, things of the past. Public debt peaked at 147% of GDP in 2012 to 2013. And while Jamaica has halved that now to 73%, this was achieved through severe fiscal discipline, not growth. Growth averaged only 0.75% per year during the debt cutting phase. Now, that's one of the reasons we hear people talking about time come, because Jamaicans have this mentality that in order for them to be happy with government, their belly must be full, and government must be handing out stuff. This is how Jamaicans see government. So government. And this is why I've decided to do this talk today, because this is why we constantly cannot grow, because as soon as the government come and start to make changes in the right direction, they want change. And this handout mentality leads to self-sabotage. Whether Jamaican citizens are unintelligent is inappropriate and unsupported. What is evident is a system that encourages reinforced dependency. That's what I have a problem with. And so you may have heard me talk all the time that we need to get out of this reinforced dependency, where everybody for generations, 3 generations, believe that government owes them something. And so children coming out of college believe it's government job to place them in jobs. This erodes initiative. Successive government reward recipients rather than incentivize innovation. It doesn't incentivize enterprise. It creates disincentives for innovation, accountability, or long-term progress. Politicians prop up support by distributing small benefit, handing out goodies, ensuring loyalty rather than fostering competence and innovation. We have to get out of this mindset that government is our father, that government is our daddy. It's just that simple. Infrastructure and real investment are starved while social programs receive priority, turning medium to long-term development into a political liability. And what that does, it sets the nation back decades. Because everybody is waiting for government to come and give them handouts. And so if this government is changed in this cycle, what's going to happen is a regression, a return to the old ways, handouts, free stuff for political patronage. So all those long-term projects, roads, bridges, highways, whatever, we're going to be on the chopping block. And the contrast with other small nations leap ahead. Several small nations from Singapore to Costa Rica have moved rapidly through the 21st century, not by embracing state dependency. And I continue to make this point, but by investing heavily in human capital, economic diversification, and institutional accountability. This is how it has to be done. But there are too many people who believe that government should be handing them things. That's the legacy of the Manley first PNP administration. Jamaica with high literacy but weak effective education outcomes. Students average 7.1 years of learning by age 18, remain stuck in low wage sectors like tourism and agriculture. We have to get our young people in tech and in high-tech farming, not subsistence farming, because we need food security. Countries that empower citizens to build rather than beg tend to compound growth. Jamaica's policy paralysis, combined with a political economy of patronage, has stifled the very transformation its citizens might otherwise effect. We have to change that paradigm. We must. If our country is to meet its obligation for all its people to move the citizens, everyone, wholesale into the 21st century, then Jamaica must have tightened its belt and stick to the policies that we have right now. They're not perfect. If Adams did make that insulting remark, when he did, or if he did, it's an expression of prejudice, not a reflection of Jamaican capacity or character. The durable legacy of the PNP's early socialist rule, coupled with entrenched political patronage, has created a culture of dependency in our people that cripples national ambition. It is important that we begin to wean ourselves off the idea that it is up to government to support us, to give us homes, to give us jobs. Jamaica cannot, the Jamaican government cannot be father to the people. Economic data confirms stagnation, GDP growth near 1%, poverty fluctuating up and down, languishing, and debt reduction achieved via austerity. Those are not dynamic growth statistics. Until Jamaican leaders and Jamaicans themselves demand competency, reward initiative, and rebuke patronage, the risks to the nation, repeating cycles of fleeting economic progress, undone by dependency and falling further behind global compatriots. We have to break the cycle. We must break the cycle. In blunt terms, the rot runs deep, not in intelligence, but in an institutional and cultural suppression of personal and national agency. We have to change the way we view governing and our role as citizens. Without radical change in political incentives and civic expectations, Jamaica's potential will remain stifled by an expectation that the state gives rather than citizens build. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. This has been the Deep Dive. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. If you like the channel, share it, leave us a comment, give us a like, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.